Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate some balancing techniques to help strengthen those stabilizing muscles in your ankles and in your calves and help you kind of feel what it's like to engage your core in order to enhance your stability. So we're going to go through some poses. I'm going to break down each pose one at a time and then kind of shake it out in between. And then at the very end, I'm going to go through the whole sequence, hopefully without having to touch my foot to the ground and practice balance that way. So just know that that's like our end point. So here we go. Go ahead and find like enough space. You can get a yoga mat if you want. I wouldn't suggest doing it on carpet or in socks, because for me, I really like to feel really planted and grounded, and so I use my bare feet to do that. Hi. Got my little yoga guy here with me. So, first things first, just kind of like, ooh, I want to move this down so that you can see my feet. There we go. That should be good. Yeah. So you're gonna kick your butt just like with your heels. So all I'm doing is just kind of dropping my feet where they fall. This is a good way to kind of just see where your relaxed, like neutral, parallel feet below your hips is. There you go, baby. So find that, kind of spread your toes, ground yourself, evenly distribute your weight between both feet to the toes, to the heels. You're evenly distributed. Roll your shoulders back, kind of elongate that spine, engaging that core as you're standing here, really nice and strong. Just kind of breathe into feeling strong here. I'm gonna move you to be right here. Can you be right here? Good boy. To practice our weight and our balance, I'd like to first is kind of shift your weight to your toes. So lean forward as far as you possibly can, kind of feeling your toes grip the mat as you are trying not to then fall, right? So you're leaning far forward, and then slowly rock your weight onto your heels and see that and feel that adjustment where your toes start to lift off the mat, your ankles are adjusting with that weight distribution shift, and just kind of slowly control that weight distribution, feeling those stabilizing muscles start to activate, engaging that core, and come back to center and rock side to side. So you're feeling all of your weight go onto one foot, all of your weight then go onto the other foot. This is kind of where we're gonna start today, is doing one leg at a time. So now that we've kind of wiggled it out with our weight distribution, pick a leg, doesn't matter which one because we're gonna do the other one in a minute anyway, but shift all of your weight onto that one leg fully and completely, so much so that the other foot can float and hover off the ground, and this leg is supporting your entire weight. So you'll start to feel your legs start to activate, and I just want you to gently hover this foot off the ground. If to catch your balance you need to do a little toe tap, do a little toe tap. I'm holding my arms out here to counterbalance my upper body, but really the stability is coming from this leg. And go ahead and shake out that standing leg. Good. The terminology that I'll be using is standing leg and floating leg, so hopefully that'll be helpful for you. I just wanted Indigo to be in the video, so I wanted to move it because he's just too darn cute. Okay, so we did this leg. Now let's shift all of our weight onto the other leg, so much so that this floating leg can start to hover on the floor. Hands can come out to counterbalance. We're feeling that leg, that standing leg start to work. Maybe there's a little burn that happens. So we just hover, practicing that balance, maybe having to tap the floor if we're getting a little wobbly, and then come back to center and shake out that standing leg. Woo! So that's exercise 1, is just shifting all of your weight and floating that floating leg around. Exercise number 2 is kind of taking that and amping it up. So we're going to shift onto that first standing leg that we used. Floating leg comes off the ground, and instead of just hovering it off to the side, we're actually going to cross our center line, kind of brush the foot in front of us back and forth. So using our arms to counterweight, but we're crossing our center line, that's where the stability really, really comes into play. So we're hovering, that floating leg is just sweeping in front of us, and that standing leg is working really hard to not topple us over as we're crossing that center line. So that's crossing the center line, and then we're going to swing back and forth kind of like a pendulum. So we're hinging at the hips slightly, and we're going to just brush that floating leg back and forth. Our arms are again coming out for balance, and we're adjusting as needed. And then we'll shake out that standing leg. Whew. So that's exercise 2. Brushing the leg back and forth, crossing that center line, and then hinging side or front to back, really focusing on that stability. So we'll do those exercises on the second leg, shifting all my weight onto that standing leg, and then I want to kick him to go. This floating leg is sweeping in front, crossing that center line. And we're just adjusting. Again, if you need to do a little toe tap to regain your balance, or if you have a wall nearby that you just want to touch really quick, that's fine too. We're going to shift to hinging back and forth, really using that standing leg, nice and stable. And you can do this for as long or as short as you need, but shake it out, shake it out, shake out that standing leg. I'm starting to feel it right here and then in my calf. So it's working, it's doing some work. So now we have 2 exercises. We have just stand and hover. We have exercise number 2, cross in front and back and forth. Exercise number 3 takes it up again. We're going to be moving up the body, and so instead of just focusing on lower body, we're going to be using our upper body too. So I'm going to shift all my weight onto that first standing leg, lifting that floating leg off the ground. This time I'm going to hug it to my chest. So it's not barely on the ground, or barely off the ground, it's like all the way up here. So really committing to that balance on that standing leg is we're hugging this to our chest. We're just holding it at this point. If then you want level 2 of this move, we're gonna take the knee across our center line and twist across our body, keeping our balance. Level 3 of this move is putting it out. So we're opening up that knee and that hip. Again, trying to keep our balance, keeping our core nice and engaged, using our other arm as a counterbalance. Level 4 is straightening the leg to the side, keeping that balance. Oh, that's good. My leg is on fire. Woo. Whatever version you do, whether it's hug the knee to your chest, the goal is to, instead of fall out of it as an ending, if you fall out of it a couple times, that's fine, get back into it, but to end with a controlled lower and then a shakeout. Okay, controlling that placement of that floating leg back on the ground on your terms, not your body is falling out of it and then you're just catching yourself. You're planting that foot. So our third exercise, other leg, shift all of our weight and that, what is it called? What do I call it? The floating leg comes up to your chest. You're hugging that knee to your chest. This is level 1 of this exercise. You can hold for as long as you want, just as long as at the end, when you've decided that you are done with this pose, that you plant your foot and that there's that control, right? So level 1, you could be here. Level 2, across the body, trying to hold it there, crossing that center line again is very difficult. Level 3, opening it up. You're challenging your core with this one, and for me, my hip, my outside hip is really working. And then when I straighten it, it's just everything. So we're holding these poses to challenge our stabilizing muscles and our balancing muscles as we go across. Don't forget to shake it out, because man, oh man, is that working. All right, so now you have 3 exercises. 1, just hover in place. 2, hover cross body and back forth. 3, knee hug. 4th pose, final pose of these balancing exercises, yoga poses and whatnot. Again, we're standing on one leg, so I'm starting with this leg again. I'm going to shift all of my weight. This leg is going to kind of come out at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to bend it, and I'm going to place my ankle to my standing leg's knee, opening that bent leg out, and I'm going to use my like prayer hands to kind of focus on engaging my core. I'm going to try and sit back into this pose. So really stabilizing that standing leg, bending that knee, sitting back into that heel so that your glutes are engaged. Creates a really nice stretch for this bent leg. My ankle is working really hard to stabilize this one. I can feel it. And then again, same thing. You're going to control, come out of it instead of falling out of it, right? Shake out that standing leg. Okay, last leg. Well, 2 legs, but last move, last leg. Put all of my weight on this leg, come out at about a 45-degree angle, bend the knee, ankle to knee, and then slowly sit into it. Keeping this knee out instead of collapsing in, we're trying to press that knee out. We're breathing through all of these poses, just kind of trying to stay in tune with our body, see what's working. Right now, I know my ankle and the sole of my foot is working really hard right now, not so much my hip flexor. So it's just something that I'm bringing my awareness to. And then control that stand and that fall out. So those are your 4 yoga poses, exercises to work your stabilizing muscles, especially in your lower body. There are stabilizing muscles that we use in our upper body as well, but who does handstands on a regular basis? So we don't really need to work on those. But these are some good ones. So I hope that was helpful. As promised, I was going to do the whole cycle all together. So if you ever get to a point where you want to do all 4 of those poses back to back to back to back, this is that part in the video. So I'm going to start with this leg as I normally do. So pose number 1, which was just hover off to the side. I'll do that for a couple of seconds. Then I'll start to cross body and try not to hit indigo. And then I'll switch it up and start with the hinge back and forth. The goal of this is to try not put my foot to the ground during this whole sequence. So I'm now on to pose 3. I'm going to go through all different levels of pose 3, which is the knee to the chest. After doing all of those little ones, this is kind of difficult to go through all of these and not feel a lot of strain. but we're good. Feels nice. And then we end here. And I'll hold this for as long as I feel like I need to or want to, or maybe I can set a timer, doesn't really matter. But then I'll control set that down. That standing leg was working that whole time, dang. All right, but it gets a little break because now I'm onto this leg, shifting my weight, just floating it around. Pose number 1. There we go. Here. Pose number 2, crossing that center line, hinging back and forth. Sometimes I like to lower my gaze to about like 4 or 5 feet in front of me on the floor. It helps to give me like a focal point, but I'm not really like looking at anything in particular. I'm just staring at the floor in a certain spot. Seems to help kind of focus me. And then we're opening up the knee. Yep, there's that hip flexor coming in for balance. Oh. This one's always a tough one for me because I'm not very flexible in this regard. Okay, nice and controlled. Ankle to knee. Sit back. Understanding that your core has been engaged this entire time, although you haven't been doing like crunches or anything. It's definitely been working. Oh, I want to hold it till the end. Don't go. Okay, and controlled ending. Yay! Shake out that standing leg. And that's your balance sequence all put together. Separate it out and then all put together. Hopefully that was helpful. I love you a lot and let me know if this is helpful, okay? Bye.